they did it again. I mean, I actually think that perhaps the second season is stronger than the first. When I first got the script, I threw it in the bin, which is true. I've read some of it and I thought, this is too broad for me. And then my boyfriend, who's a writer, read it and said, you have to do this. It's so funny. Just read it again, read it again, read it again. And I did, and I couldn't put it down. Maybe I was in a bad mood, or I don't know what it was. You know, it was clear in the first season how bold and brave the writers are. There were so many predictable ways that the storylines could go, and gratefully, consistently, pleasantly surprised. I definitely feel like a proud mum sometimes when observing Asa and Ncuti. You know, I'm constantly surprised how mature their choices are when you're talking about, you know, acting, and certainly their teenage years are closer to hand than they are for me, for instance, where I can barely remember whether I even had a sex ed class or who my first snog was. It is interesting that they are so able to give themselves permission, I guess, to go back and to re-experience some of the horrendous and tumultuous aspects of their teenage years. And I remember thinking that when I was watching the first season and watching Asa's work and thinking, you know, he's really properly good. There's nothing predictable in his responses to things. Gene and Otis from the very beginning felt like the least complicated and difficult element of it. We immediately fell into a rhythm and a tone. It just felt very natural and effortless from the beginning. Yeah, they're all properly good. As an ancient adult, it was hard for me to really discern what that reaction was going to be. And I've been shocked before by successes of things that I've done, mostly in the opposite direction. But it was hard for me to judge whether it would be got, whether people would get it, whether the fact that it was both seemingly British and American, that it was in the past and in the present, and sometimes even in the future. Well, there's certainly a sense when going into a second season, knowing that a fan base has properly enjoyed something, that one can imagine what the reaction might be to certain things that happen. And you know, even in the reading of it, when you're sitting around a table reading, when you're reading it for the first time, you're thinking, oh my God, they're gonna love this, or whatever. And then so in the doing of it, it's a lot of fun to be able to play with that and to stretch it to its extremes. Knowing that you're kind of held in that place by a sense of, you know, of love and appreciation. I think a show like this is extraordinarily helpful in different countries, in different cultures, in different neighborhoods, even in different religions, in different emotional relationships. One of the extraordinary things that the show does is it shows that whoever you are and whatever your feelings or thoughts or proclivities or tastes or sexual preference, whoever you claim you are and what feels comfortable is okay. So the fact that there's a place where there is such diverse representation that, you know, and that there is, even though there is conflict and there is pain and there is fear and there is a lack of communication, that somehow that's part of the story, that it basically deals with everything. You know, to show youngsters that everybody goes through that. Everybody around the world, to some degree, will go through the same feelings and the same struggles and the same confusion and the same fear and the same shame and the same guilt. And to watch and to feel represented and to feel recognized and heard and to feel that you're not alone, I think is one of the most valuable things anyone can give anybody else.